The crack of the slap echoed through the silent classroom. Olivia's cheek burned as Madison's fingers wrapped around her throat, squeezing just enough to send a clear message. "Know your place, new girl," Madison hissed, her perfect ponytail swinging as she leaned in closer. Olivia's eyes watered, not from pain, but humiliation. Her first day at Westlake Academy, and she was already being choked in front of laughing spectators. What she didn't see, what none of them saw, was the tall figure in the hallway, his knuckles turning white as he clenched his fists. Olivia's brother had seen everything. "Before we dive in, I'm curious, where are you watching from right now? Is it late at night when all the secrets come out, or are you sneaking in this story during your lunch break? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button to join our storytelling family. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next." Olivia Baxter clutched her schedule tighter as she walked through the imposing gates of Westlake Academy. The crisp navy blazer still felt stiff on her shoulders, the school crest a reminder that she was the outsider here. 3 months ago, her parents' divorce had torn apart everything familiar, forcing her and her brother to move across the state with their mother. "You'll be fine, Liv," her brother Ethan assured her, his senior's confidence a stark contrast to her freshman jitters. "Just text if you need anything. I'm never too far." She nodded, grateful but determined to handle this herself. At her old school, Olivia had friends, respect, a place. Here, she was nobody. "Remember, keep your head down until you figure out the landscape," Ethan added before heading toward his friends. "This place has politics." The morning passed in a blur of new faces and confusing hallways. By lunch, Olivia's hopeful mood had faded into exhaustion. The cafeteria buzzed with established friendships and inside jokes as she searched for an empty seat. That's when she first noticed them, 5 girls in a tight circle at the center table. Unlike everyone else struggling with the school uniform, they somehow made the blazers and skirts look like runway fashion. At their center sat a tall blonde whose laugh commanded attention from everyone around her. "That's Madison Walsh," whispered a quiet voice. A petite girl with glasses had appeared beside Olivia. "Her dad practically owns half the school buildings. I'm Zoe, by the way." Before Olivia could respond, a boy accidentally bumped Madison's chair. The cafeteria fell silent as Madison turned, her smile vanishing. One cutting remark later, the boy scurried away, his face burning with shame. "First rule of Westlake," Zoe continued. "Don't cross Madison." In English class that afternoon, Olivia discovered the seating chart placed her directly behind Madison and her friends. As the teacher stepped out to make copies, Madison turned around, studying Olivia with calculating eyes. "New girl, right? Olivia something?" "Baxter," Olivia replied, trying to keep her voice steady. "Olivia Baxter." Madison's perfectly glossed lips curled into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Well, Olivia Baxter, I'm Madison Walsh. Welcome to Westlake." She leaned closer, voice dropping. "Just so we're clear, that empty seat next to you. It's empty for a reason. The last new girl who tried too hard to fit in had to leave mid-semester. Mental health issues, they said." As Madison turned away, Olivia caught Zoe's warning glance from across the room. The message was clear: Madison Walsh had just marked her territory, and Olivia had accidentally wandered into it. What neither of them realized was that Ethan Baxter had paused outside the classroom door, watching the exchange through the narrow window with growing concern. His sister didn't know about his history at Westlake, about the promises he made to himself after what happened last year. But seeing Madison's predatory interest in Olivia, something told him history was about to repeat itself. The next morning, Olivia arrived early, hoping to settle in before the classroom filled. She chose a seat near the window, away from where Madison and her friends had sat yesterday. The chatter of students filled the hall as people began arriving. "You're in my seat." Olivia looked up to find Madison standing over her, flanked by 2 friends, Vanessa Chen with her immaculate bob and Brittany Miller twirling her auburn curls. "I didn't realize seats were assigned," Olivia said, immediately regretting her words. Madison's eyes narrowed. They're not. But everyone knows where they belong. The implied message hung between them. Reluctantly, Olivia gathered her things and moved to an empty desk in the back corner. A small victory for Madison, who smirked as she claimed her preferred spot. At lunch, Olivia carefully balanced her tray, navigating the crowded cafeteria. She spotted Zoe waving from a corner table and started toward her. That's when it happened. Someone's foot extended into her path. Olivia tripped, her tray launching forward, splattering tomato soup across Madison's pristine white blouse. The cafeteria fell silent. "You clumsy little nobody!" Madison shrieked, jumping up. "This is cashmere under the uniform." "I'm so sorry I tripped," Olivia stammered, horror washing over her. "You think I believe that was an accident?" Madison's voice rose higher. "You've been giving me attitude since yesterday." Students gathered around, phones recording the drama. Olivia felt tears threatening but refused to let them fall. "Not here. Not now." "Madison, ease up," Vanessa whispered. "Teachers are watching." Madison's face transformed instantly, tears filling her eyes on command. "She ruined my mother's birthday gift to me," she whimpered, playing the victim perfectly as the teacher approached. Later that afternoon, during study hall, Olivia sat alone, trying to disappear into her textbook. The teacher stepped out for a phone call, and within seconds, Madison and her friends surrounded Olivia's desk. "You embarrassed me today," Madison said, voice dangerously quiet. "It was an accident," Olivia insisted. "I tripped." "Over Brittany's foot?" Madison laughed. "Maybe. But accidents have consequences." It happened so fast, Madison's hand connecting with Olivia's face and a sharp slap that echoed through the room. Shocked gasps filled the air as Madison's fingers then wrapped around Olivia's throat, not choking her but applying enough pressure to make her point. "Know your place, new girl," Madison hissed. Something inside Olivia broke, not just her dignity, but her resolve to stay invisible. As tears welled in her eyes, she looked past Madison to the classroom door where a tall figure stood frozen in shock. Ethan had come to drop off her forgotten math book. Their eyes met for just a second before Ethan disappeared from view. Madison, mistaking Olivia's tears for complete defeat, finally released her and sauntered back to her seat as the teacher returned. What nobody saw was Ethan in the hallway, phone in hand, having captured the entire incident on video. His hand shook with a fury he hadn't felt since last year's incident, the one that had nearly gotten him expelled. He'd promised his mother to stay out of trouble at Westlake, but watching his sister being assaulted had just changed everything. As the bell rang, Olivia rushed out, colliding directly into her brother's waiting arms. "I saw everything," he whispered, his voice tight with controlled rage. "And this time, I have proof. Delete that video right now," Madison demanded, cornering Ethan and Olivia in the empty hallway after school. Ethan stood protectively in front of his sister. "Not happening, Madison. You assaulted my sister." Madison's confidence wavered for just a moment before her trademark smirk returned. "Your word against mine. Do you know who my father is?" "I don't care if your dad is the president," Ethan replied coldly. "Touch my sister again, and this video goes to the principal, the school board, and every parent's email." As Madison stormed off, Vanessa lingered behind, her expression unreadable. "You shouldn't have done that," she said quietly before following her friend. That evening, Olivia sat cross-legged on her bed, fingers gently touching her still tender cheek. "We should just report her now," she insisted. Ethan shook his head. "Trust me, Liv. I tried that route last year with another bully. Madison's family donated the science wing. The administration will find a way to bury it, and she'll only come after you harder." "So what then? I just let her terrorize me?" Olivia's voice cracked. "No," Ethan said firmly. "We build a stronger case. Madison doesn't just bully you, she's been doing this for years. We need to show a pattern." The next morning, Olivia approached Vice Principal Jenkins' office with shaking hands. She detailed yesterday's incident, watching as the administrator's expression shifted from concern to careful neutrality. "That's a serious accusation, Miss Baxter," Jenkins said, leaning back in her chair. "Ms. Walsh has an exemplary record here. My brother has video." "Videos can be misleading without context," Jenkins interrupted. "We'll investigate, of course, but these matters are complicated." Leaving the office, Olivia felt defeated until she spotted Zoe waiting by the water fountain. "She didn't help, did she?" Zoe asked knowingly. "How did you guess?" "Because Madison's dad just funded the new administrative wing," Zoe revealed. "Come with me." In an empty classroom, Zoe introduced Olivia to Lucas, a quiet boy with kind eyes. "We've all been on Madison's hit list at some point," Zoe explained. "Lucas keeps track." Lucas opened his notebook, revealing detailed accounts of Madison's bullying incidents, dates, victims, witnesses. "I have a photographic memory," he explained. "I remember everything I see. Some kids transferred," Zoe added. "Others just disappeared into themselves. Nobody ever does anything because her family owns the school," Olivia finished. That afternoon, Madison cornered Olivia in the bathroom. Instead of fear, Olivia felt a new emotion rising: determination. "Your brother thinks he's so clever," Madison hissed. "But ask him what happened to the last person who crossed me. Nobody even remembers their name now." As Madison left, Vanessa lingered again. "She's not bluffing," she whispered. "But neither am I." She slipped Olivia a folded note before hurrying after Madison. The note contained a single sentence: "Meet me at the public library for 30. At home that evening, Olivia found Ethan unusually quiet. "What aren't you telling me?" she demanded. "Madison mentioned something about the last person who crossed her?" Ethan's expression darkened. "Jamie Chin. Vanessa's brother. He stood up to Madison last year after she humiliated his sister. 2 weeks later, he was expelled for cheating, except he didn't cheat. I knew it. Everyone knew it. That's when I confronted Madison and nearly got expelled myself." "Wait, Vanessa's brother?" Olivia pulled out the note. "She wants to meet me." "It's a trap," Ethan warned. "Maybe," Olivia replied, a plan forming in her mind. "Or maybe Madison's reign is about to face its first real challenge." The public library stood 3 blocks from school grounds, neutral territory. Olivia arrived early, positioning herself at a table with clear sight lines to all entrances. Just in case this was indeed a trap. At exactly 4:30, Vanessa appeared, alone and nervously checking over her shoulder. She slid into the seat across from Olivia. "I can't stay long," Vanessa whispered. "If Madison knows I'm talking to you." "Why are you?" Olivia asked bluntly. Vanessa's composed facade cracked slightly. "Because of Jamie, my brother. What happened to him wasn't right. Madison." She hesitated. "She planted the answers in his backpack, then reported him." "Why would she do that to her friend's brother?" "Because he saw her cheating and confronted her privately. Madison doesn't allow threats to her perfect image." Vanessa's hands trembled slightly. "My parents sent Jamie to boarding school in Connecticut. Our family barely speaks now." "Then why stay friends with her?" Olivia pressed. "You don't understand how it works here. Madison doesn't just ruin your social life, she destroys futures. College recommendations, leadership positions, relationships, she influences everything." Vanessa leaned closer. "But you have something none of us had." "What's that?" "Your brother. Proof. And now me." Vanessa pulled out a small notebook. "I've been documenting everything for months. Planning my exit strategy." As they parted ways, Olivia felt both hope and unease. Gaining Vanessa as an ally was unexpected, but was it genuine? She texted Ethan. "Mission successful?" "Possibly." The next morning, Madison's piercing gaze followed Olivia through the hallways. By lunchtime, rumors had already spread. Madison was planning something big for the new girl who didn't know her place. She's getting desperate, Lucas observed as he joined Olivia and Zoe at their table. You're not reacting how her victims usually do. That's because I'm not just her victim, Olivia replied with newfound confidence. After school, Ethan introduced Olivia to his friend Alex, the editor of the school newspaper. The administration might ignore one complaint, Ethan explained, but they can't ignore a pattern. We could run an anonymous survey about bullying, Alex suggested. Not naming Madison specifically, but gathering data. And I have the perfect distribution channel, Zoe added, revealing her position as the student council secretary with access to all student emails. As their alliance grew stronger, so did Madison's suspicions. She cornered Vanessa after cheer practice. You've been quiet lately, Madison observed, her tone deceptively light. And I noticed you talking to that Zoe girl yesterday. We have a project together in biology. Vanessa lied smoothly. Madison's eyes narrowed. You know I can always tell when you're lying, V. Remember what happened to your brother? That evening, Olivia's phone lit up with a text from Vanessa. Emergency. Madison knows something's up. Meeting tomorrow cancelled. But the damage was already done. The next morning, Olivia opened her locker to find her gym clothes soaked in what smelled like bleach. Pinned to them was a note. First warning. When she turned around, Madison stood at the end of the hallway, surrounded by her remaining loyal friends. Their eyes met in silent challenge. Don't let her see you react, came a quiet voice. Vice Principal Jenkins had appeared beside her, surveying the damaged clothes. Come to my office during lunch, Miss Baxter. Later, in Jenkins' office, Olivia was surprised by the administrator's candid words. I want to help you, Jenkins said after ensuring the door was closed. But my hands are tied by school politics. However, she slid a folder across the desk. If someone were to present concrete evidence of a pattern of behavior to the school board directly, bypassing the headmaster, well, that would force action. As Olivia left, clutching the folder of complaint procedures, she realized the game had changed. Madison might have institutional power, but Olivia was building something stronger, a coalition of the wounded, all sharing one common goal, justice. What she didn't know was that Madison had already set in motion a plan to destroy her before that could happen. The midterm exam papers lay neatly stacked on Mrs. Peterson's desk, a critical test worth 30% of their semester grade. Olivia had studied all weekend, determined to prove herself academically despite the escalating tension with Madison. Begin, Mrs. Peterson announced, distributing the papers. Halfway through the exam, Olivia felt someone brush past her desk. Looking up briefly, she caught Madison's innocent smile before returning to her test. Something felt off, but she couldn't place what. 10 minutes before the bell, chaos erupted. Mrs. Peterson! Madison's voice rang out. I think someone's cheating. The teacher approached Madison's desk as she dramatically pulled out a folded paper. I found this on the floor by Olivia's desk. It looks like test answers. All eyes turned to Olivia, whose face flushed with confusion. That's not mine, she insisted as Mrs. Peterson examined the paper. These are indeed the answer key margins, the teacher confirmed, her expression hardening. Olivia, bring your test and come with me to Vice Principal Jenkins' office. Whispers followed Olivia out of the room. In the hallway, she caught Vanessa's eye, not triumphant like Madison's other friends, but alarmed. In Jenkins' office, the accusations felt like physical blows. This is a serious academic violation, Jenkins stated. If proven true, it means automatic failure and potential suspension. It's not true, Olivia insisted. Madison planted that paper. She's been threatening me for weeks. That's a serious counteraccusation without proof, Jenkins replied carefully. I'll need to investigate both claims. Until then, you'll be placed on academic probation. We'll contact your mother about an academic integrity hearing next week. Walking home alone, Olivia's phone buzzed with messages from Ethan, who'd heard the news. Before she could reply, another message appeared from an unknown number. Library bathroom, right now. Emergency. 20 minutes later, Olivia burst through the library doors, finding Vanessa pacing in the empty bathroom. Madison set you up, Vanessa said immediately. She stole answer keys from Peterson's desk during lunch monitor duty. I need proof, Olivia replied desperately. That's why I texted. Madison took your evidence folder from your locker. She has everything, all our documentation, Lucas's notes, everything. Olivia's knees weakened as she leaned against the sink. How? Brittany is good with locks, Vanessa explained. Madison's planning to destroy it all tonight. Why are you telling me this? Olivia asked, suspicion rising. How do I know this isn't another trap? Vanessa pulled out her phone, showing a text thread with Madison. Got the folder. Bonfire at my place tonight? Because I'm done being afraid, Vanessa said firmly. Jamie would be ashamed of what I've become. That evening, Olivia sat at her kitchen table, head in her hands as her mother processed the school's call about cheating allegations. I didn't do it, Mom, Olivia repeated. Madison framed me because we've been gathering evidence about her bullying. Evidence that she now has, Ethan added, pacing the kitchen. This is exactly what she did to Jamie Chin. Their mother looked between her children, conflict clear on her face. Why didn't you come to me about this bullying when it started? Because we thought we could handle it, Olivia admitted. And now I might get expelled, just like Jamie. Across town, Madison sat surrounded by her loyal followers in her expensive backyard, a small fire pit crackling before them. The folder lay in her lap. To the fall of another challenger, she announced, holding up the folder. But before she could toss it into the flames, Vanessa's hand shot out. Wait, she said. Shouldn't we check what they actually have first? Know what they know. Madison paused, then nodded. Smart thinking, V. Always the strategist. As Madison flipped through the pages, Vanessa discreetly positioned her phone in her jacket pocket, the camera recording everything. Back at the Baxter home, Olivia's phone chimed with a video message from Vanessa. The caption read, Not the original documents, but maybe something better. The video showed Madison laughing as she read aloud from Olivia's evidence folder. September 15th, Madison choked Olivia Baxter in study hall. September 18th, bleach in gym clothes. She's literally confessing to everything, Ethan whispered as they watched. But their momentary hope crashed when a final text came through from Vanessa. She's burning it all now. I'm sorry. The hearing was scheduled for Monday morning. With no evidence and Madison's perfect reputation against her, Olivia faced certain defeat. For the first time since the bullying began, she broke down in tears, the unfairness of it all finally overwhelming her. What no one knew was that Vice Principal Jenkins had been making calls of her own that weekend, calls that would change everything. Monday morning arrived with a leaden sky threatening rain, matching Olivia's mood perfectly. The academic integrity hearing was scheduled for 8 a.m. in the headmaster's conference room, ensuring maximum humiliation as other students would see her enter. Remember, let me do most of the talking, her mother advised as they walked through the parking lot. Ethan had insisted on attending despite missing his own classes. The conference room was intimidatingly formal. At one end sat Headmaster Collins, Vice Principal Jenkins, and Mrs. Peterson. Madison and her father occupied the other side, Mr. Walsh in an expensive suit, his daughter the picture of wounded academic integrity. We're here to address serious allegations of cheating, Headmaster Collins began, his voice grave. Mrs. Peterson found evidence that Olivia Baxter used unauthorized materials during her midterm examination. Mrs. Peterson presented the folded paper with test answers. This was found near Olivia's desk, and her test answers matched this key with suspicious accuracy. Madison dabbed at her eyes with the tissue. I hated to report it, but academic honesty is so important. Olivia's mother straightened in her chair. My daughter has never cheated in her life. She maintains that Madison Walsh planted that paper to frame her. Mr. Walsh scoffed. Preposterous. My daughter is an honor student with an unblemished record. This sounds like a case of getting caught and desperate deflection. Perhaps, Vice Principal Jenkins interjected, we should consider the broader context here. Headmaster Collins frowned. The issue at hand is cheating, not context. Actually, Jenkins continued, there have been concerning reports about patterns of behavior that may be relevant. Mr. Walsh leaned forward. Are you suggesting my daughter is lying, Jenkins? I'm suggesting, Jenkins replied evenly, that this case bears remarkable similarities to an incident last year involving Jamie Chen. The room fell silent. Madison's composed expression flickered briefly. That case was resolved, Headmaster Collins stated firmly. Mr. Chen was found with answer keys. And according to our new evidence, Jenkins continued, pulling out a folder, those keys were planted by another student. Madison's face paled. What evidence? Jenkins placed several statements on the table. Over the weekend, I received these statements from current and former students detailing similar experiences. All describe being framed after crossing Madison Walsh. Mr. Walsh stood abruptly. This is outrageous. You can't ambush us with unsubstantiated claims. They're not unsubstantiated, came a voice from the doorway. All heads turned to see Vanessa Chen standing there, her usual confidence replaced with quiet determination. Ms. Chen? Headmaster Collins frowned. This is a closed hearing. I've asked her to join us, Jenkins explained, as she has relevant testimony. Vanessa stepped forward, placing her phone on the table. I have a video of Madison Walsh confessing to framing Olivia and discussing her previous victims, including my brother. As the video played, Madison's calculated voice filled the room. Planting those answers was too easy. Peterson never locks her desk. Just like with Jamie last year. Mr. Walsh's face transformed from indignation to shock. Madison began to protest, but fell silent when her father raised his hand. That's not all, Vanessa continued, her voice strengthening. Madison stole Olivia's evidence folder containing documentation of months of bullying incidents. She burned it Saturday night. But what she doesn't know is that we kept digital copies of everything. Ethan stepped forward, placing a USB drive on the table. Complete with the original video of Madison physically assaulting my sister in the classroom. The headmaster looked increasingly uncomfortable as Jenkins methodically laid out the evidence. Mr. Walsh's expression had hardened into something unreadable as he stared at his daughter. Madison, he finally said, his voice deadly quiet. Is this true? Her carefully constructed facade crumbled under her father's gaze. They're exaggerating. Everyone was fine. It's just high school. Answer me, he demanded. Did you frame this girl for cheating? Madison's silence was answer enough. As the rain finally began to fall outside, Olivia felt a strange mix of vindication and hollow victory. The truth was finally emerging, but at what cost to everyone involved? Madison's perfect mask had shattered, revealing something surprisingly vulnerable beneath. What no one in that room yet realized was that this hearing would change Westlake Academy forever, starting with one broken, privileged girl finally facing consequences and one new student finding her voice. The days following the hearing created a seismic shift at Westlake. Madison's temporary suspension sent shockwaves through the social hierarchy. Whispers followed Olivia through the hallways, some admiring, others uncertain. You actually took down Madison Walsh, a sophomore girl whispered in the bathroom. No one's ever done that before. But victory felt complicated. After watching Madison's father practically drag her from the hearing, his disappointment more devastating than any school punishment, Olivia couldn't help but feel a twinge of empathy beneath her relief. Vanessa, now ostracized by Madison's remaining loyal friends, joined Olivia's lunch table. Madison's parents are making her see a therapist, she revealed quietly. Apparently, they had no idea how she behaved at school. They only saw the perfect grades and leadership positions. Do you regret it? Olivia asked. Standing up to her? Vanessa considered the question. I regret not doing it sooner. For Jamie. For everyone else. Ethan had become something of a legend among underclassmen, the senior who helped expose years of unchecked bullying. But at home, he seemed troubled. "What's wrong?" Olivia asked, finding him staring at his laptop that evening. "We won." "Did we?" He turned the screen, showing an email from college admissions. "The Walsh family has connections at my top choice university. Mr. Walsh sits on their board." The realization hit hard. Madison might be facing consequences, but her family's influence extended far beyond Westlake's walls. The next morning, Vice Principal Jenkins called Olivia to her office. "The school board is forming a committee to review our bullying policies," she explained. "They'd like you to participate." "Me? Why?" "Because you did what the adults should have done long ago," Jenkins admitted. "You gathered evidence, built support, and persisted despite the obstacles." Later that day, an assembly was called. Headmaster Collins looked uncomfortable as he addressed the student body. "Recent events have highlighted shortcomings in our community standards," he began stiffly. "Effective immediately, we're implementing new reporting procedures for bullying and academic misconduct." Olivia scanned the auditorium, noticing Madison's empty seat. Her friends sat subdued, their usual confidence diminished without their leader. After school, Olivia found a note in her locker. She opened it cautiously, half expecting another threat. Instead, in neat handwriting. "My office approved your brother's recommendation letter personally. His application will be judged on merit alone." Jenkins. Relief flooded through her. At least one part of Madison's potential revenge had been neutralized. That weekend, Olivia's phone buzzed with an unexpected text from an unknown number. "Can we talk?" "Madison." After consulting with Ethan and her mother, Olivia agreed to meet at a coffee shop downtown. Public, neutral, safe. Madison arrived looking nothing like her school persona. Without perfect makeup and her signature confidence, she seemed younger, almost fragile. "I'm not here to apologize," Madison began, then paused. "Actually, that's a lie. My therapist says I need to start being honest about my intentions." Olivia waited silently. "My parents are divorcing," Madison continued, staring into her untouched coffee. "Dad's been having affairs for years. Mom's been pretending not to notice. The perfect Walsh family was always a lie." She looked up. "That doesn't excuse what I did to you. Or Jamie. Or anyone else." "No, it doesn't," Olivia agreed. "I've been horrible because I was terrified of being anything less than perfect. My parents only noticed me when I was winning." The conversation was interrupted by Olivia's phone buzzing, a group text from Zoe. "Check the school newsletter online now." The headline read, "Westlake implements sweeping anti-bullying reforms." Below it, "Student committee to be led by Olivia Baxter and Vanessa Chin." Madison read it over Olivia's shoulder. "Looks like you're changing Westlake already." "It wasn't just me," Olivia replied. "It took Vanessa, Ethan, Zoe, Lucas, even Vice Principal Jenkins was gathering evidence for months." Madison nodded slowly. "The system protected me until it didn't. I never realized how many people I was hurting." She stood to leave, then hesitated. "I'm transferring schools after suspension. Fresh start." As Madison walked away, Olivia felt the complex weight of transformation, not just in the school system that had failed so many students, but in the individuals caught within it. Even Madison. Back at home, Olivia updated her journal, not as evidence anymore, but as testament to how quickly life could change. In just weeks, she'd gone from victim to advocate, from powerless to influential. Her phone buzzed with a text from Ethan. "Heard about the committee. Proud of you, Liv." For the first time since moving to Westlake, Olivia felt like she belonged, not despite standing up to Madison, but because of it. 3 weeks after Madison's suspension, Westlake Academy was transformed. Posters advocating kindness and reporting procedures lined the hallways. Anonymous tip boxes appeared in every classroom. Most notably, students who had once silently endured bullying were finding their voices. The first meeting of the new anti-bullying committee took place after school in the library. Olivia arrived early, arranging chairs in a circle rather than the traditional rows that reinforced hierarchy. "Nervous?" Vanessa asked, setting up a sign-in sheet. "A little," Olivia admitted. "I've never led something like this before." Students began filing in, first Zoe and Lucas, then others Olivia recognized as former targets of Madison's group. Most surprising were two of Madison's former friends, Brittany and Taylor, who took seats at the edge of the circle. When everyone had arrived, Olivia stood, her heart pounding. "Thanks for coming. We're here because Westlake needs to change, not just policies on paper, but how we treat each other every day." The discussion flowed more easily than she'd expected. Students shared experiences, suggested solutions, debated accountability measures. Vice Principal Jenkins sat quietly in the corner, taking notes, but letting students lead. "What about redemption?" Brittany asked suddenly. All eyes turned to her. "I mean, some of us, we went along with things we shouldn't have. Are we just permanently the bad guys now?" The room fell silent. "I don't think so," Olivia finally replied. "This isn't about creating new outcasts. It's about building a community where everyone feels safe." After the meeting, Jenkins approached Olivia. "Impressive leadership today. The board is already taking notice. Any word about Jamie Chin?" Olivia asked. Helping clear his academic record had become a priority. "The board is reviewing his case. I'm optimistic," Jenkins replied. "Oh, and this came for you." She handed Olivia an envelope with Westlake's crest. Inside was an official letter appointing Olivia to the Student Advisory Council, a position previously held by Madison. That evening, as Olivia shared the news with her family over dinner, her mother's phone rang. The call was brief, but her expression transformed from concern to relief. "That was Mr. Walsh," she explained, setting down her phone. "Ethan's college application has received a special recommendation from the board. Apparently, Mr. Walsh personally vouched for his character." Ethan looked stunned. "Why would he do that?" "He said something about balancing scales and setting examples for his daughter." Later that night, as Olivia prepared for bed, her phone buzzed with a text from Madison. "Dad told me what he did for your brother. It was his idea, but I agreed it was right. Good luck with the committee." The next day brought another surprise. During assembly, Headmaster Collins announced that Jamie Chan's academic record had been cleared, with a formal apology from the school. "Furthermore," he continued uncomfortably, "we've invited Jamie to return to Westlake with a partial scholarship, should he choose to accept." Vanessa's eyes filled with tears beside Olivia. "My parents are calling him tonight," she whispered. "He might actually come home." As weeks passed, Westlake settled into a new normal. The hierarchy hadn't disappeared entirely, social structures never do, but the fear that had permeated the hallways had lifted. Students who disagreed could voice their opinions without dread of retaliation. One afternoon, as Olivia was leaving a committee meeting, she found Ethan waiting with an envelope in hand. "It came," he said, his expression a mix of excitement and anxiety. "College decision." They sat together on a bench as he carefully opened it. His face broke into a wide grin. "I got in!" As they celebrated, Olivia noticed a small note at the bottom of the acceptance letter. "Your recommendation from Mr. Edward Walsh was particularly compelling." That weekend, a moving truck appeared outside Madison's house. Olivia watched from her bedroom window as the Walsh family loaded boxes. Madison stood by the car, looking smaller somehow without her Westlake uniform and entourage. On impulse, Olivia walked across the street. Madison spotted her approaching and tensed. "I heard you're leaving this weekend," Olivia said simply. Madison nodded. "Connecticut. Ironically, the same school Jamie went to." A ghost of a smile crossed her face. "He's been helping me prepare, actually. We've been emailing." "Fresh starts are good," Olivia offered. "I hope so." Madison hesitated. "The committee seems to be working well." "It is. People are actually talking to each other now. As Madison's parents called for her to finish packing, she turned to go, then paused. For what it's worth, Olivia, I am sorry. Not just because I got caught, but because I understand now what I was doing. Watching the Walsh family drive away, Olivia reflected on how quickly lives could change, how systems that seemed immovable could shift when enough people found their courage. The school was far from perfect, but at least now the voices of the vulnerable had a chance to be heard. That evening, she added a final entry to her journal about Madison. Some bullies are monsters. But most are just broken people breaking others. The real victory isn't watching them fall, it's helping build something better from the pieces. 6 months later, spring sunlight streamed through Westlake Academy's windows. Classroom doors stood open, a small but significant change recommended by the anti-bullying committee. Closed doors had hidden too many incidents in the past. Olivia walked the hallways with a confidence that had become natural. Students greeted her by name, not with the fearful deference once given to Madison, but with genuine respect. We got approval for the mentoring program, Zoe announced, falling into step beside her. New students will be paired with upperclassmen volunteers starting next fall. That's great, Olivia replied, thinking of her own first terrifying days. No one should have to navigate this place alone. In the 6 months since Madison left, Westlake had transformed. The committee's work had expanded beyond bullying to address the culture that had allowed it to flourish. Student government now included representatives from every grade level, not just popular seniors. Anonymous reporting systems had revealed other issues: academic pressure, mental health struggles, and economic disparities among students. As they entered the cafeteria, Olivia noticed a new student sitting alone, a girl with dark hair and anxious eyes scanning the room. Without hesitation, Olivia headed toward her table. Mind if we join you? I'm Olivia, and this is Zoe. The girl looked up, relief washing over her face. I'm Sophie. It's my first week. Perfect timing, Zoe said. We're looking for feedback on the new student orientation. Too boring? Not enough information? As they chatted, Vanessa joined them, followed by Lucas and eventually Ethan, home from college for spring break. The once empty table became lively with conversation. After lunch, Vice Principal Jenkins, recently promoted to principal following Colin's retirement, stopped Olivia in the hallway. We received an interesting email this morning, she said. From Greenhill Academy in Connecticut. Olivia's heart skipped. Madison's new school? Jenkins nodded. They're implementing their own anti-bullying program based on our model. Madison apparently spoke quite persuasively about its effectiveness. The news left Olivia momentarily speechless. She's helping them set it up? Leading it, actually. Her teacher attached this for you. Jenkins handed her a folded paper. It was a short note in Madison's handwriting. Some of us learn our lessons the hard way. Thank you for teaching me mine. M.W. That evening, the Baxter family hosted a small celebration for Ethan's visit home from college. As their mother prepared dinner, Olivia and Ethan sat on the porch steps. Remember that first week when you found me getting choked by Madison? Olivia asked. Ethan nodded. I was ready to go ballistic. Mom was still unpacking boxes, you were getting bullied, and I was having college application panic. We've come a long way. You know what I'm most proud of? Ethan said. Not that you stood up to Madison, but how you did it. You didn't just want revenge, you wanted to fix the system. Their conversation was interrupted by Olivia's phone buzzing with a video call. When she answered, Jamie Chen's face appeared on screen. Is Vanessa there yet? I want to surprise her. She's on her way, Olivia confirmed. She has no idea you're coming home for spring break. After ending the call, Olivia thought about the unlikely connections formed from conflict. Jamie was returning to Westlake next fall. Vanessa had become one of her closest friends. Even Madison, from a distance, had found a way to contribute positively. Earth to Olivia. Ethan waved his hand in front of her face. Deep thoughts? Just thinking about how differently things could have gone. If you hadn't seen Madison that day, if Vanessa hadn't helped us, if Jenkins hadn't been collecting evidence all along. But we did, Ethan said simply. That's what matters. The doorbell rang, announcing Vanessa's arrival. Moments later, her shocked cry of joy confirmed that Jamie's surprise had worked perfectly. That night, surrounded by friends who had become like family, Olivia realized the most important lesson of the past months. Real change rarely came from grand confrontations alone, but from the quiet courage of people who refuse to accept. That's just how things are. As the evening wound down, Olivia stepped outside for a moment of quiet. Her phone buzzed with a text from Sophie, the new student. Thanks for today. It meant a lot not to eat alone. Smiling, Olivia typed back. Anytime. At Westlake, no one stands alone anymore. From inside came the sound of laughter, Vanessa and Jamie telling stories, Ethan debating something with Lucas, her mother offering more food to everyone. The house felt full in a way it hadn't since before her parents' divorce. Sometimes, Olivia thought, the worst moments in life led to the most important transformations, not just for individuals, but for entire communities. What had started with a bully's slap had become a movement that changed hundreds of lives. And somewhere in Connecticut, even Madison Walsh was part of that legacy. Olivia took a deep breath of spring air and went back inside to join her people, the unlikely alliance that had discovered their collective power and used it not just for justice, but for lasting change. As Olivia's story comes to a close, we're reminded that true courage isn't just about standing up to those who harm us. It's about rebuilding what was broken into something better. When that classroom confrontation happened, no one could have predicted how many lives would change. Sometimes our deepest wounds become the foundation for our greatest contributions to the world around us. If you were in Olivia's position, would you have been able to see Madison as more than just a bully by the end? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more powerful stories about courage and transformation. Our next video is already up and waiting for you. Just click the link on your screen to continue the journey.